The following BLTV program is brought to you by O'Flaherty Law. Please enjoy.
The Business Lounge Show. My name is Phil Simoncelli. My normal co-host, Steve Esbach, is unable to join us today. As you've probably seen in our last podcast, we're really kind of changing the format of how we're doing things here. In the past, I think we just focused on our guest speakers and what they did within their businesses and their industries. And what we've really decided to do is turn it into more of an educational piece and make it more centered around our viewers' needs. We really want to be focused on current topics. We want to stay current with what's going on, and we also want to be relevant with what's happening in the world around us. In doing so, our hope is also to educate our viewers and help them also understand that they should also invert the way that they think. You know, we don't always need to buy products as consumers, but rather I think it's just as important that we hire the people that are helping us with those products. Joining us today is Rob Surrusco. And Rob, I don't know, you've been a Business Lounge member for, I don't know, how long?
Probably since 2017. So.
Okay. How'd you get involved with the lounge?
So I've known many people in the members of the Lounge Network for probably 15 years. In my previous role, my previous work environment. But now with my new role with Tectel Communications, it's allowed me now to really get heavily involved with the Business Lounge Network from a different standpoint than I was before. It allows me to network. It allows me to meet fellow business owners and discuss, life issues, business issues, and really just enjoy each other's company many, many times.
You actually helped do all the stuff here at our location here. I think you did O'Flaherty Law. I think you did a lot of the technology upgrades for the Business Lounge, and for me as well too. And
that is correct. Yeah, and due to my relationship with Kevin O'Flaherty, he knew that we were a trusted company that he could reach out to when they were expanding his offices into a new location, and they needed some structured cabling done to get their network set up, their phone system set up, and any security camera issues that they might have had looking to invest in. So yeah, it was great to be able to work in your office, get you up and running, and also get Kevin's office up and running, and then also help get the lounge up and running as well too.
Yeah, you did a nice job for me. I know, me being a part of a larger company, you had to do some coordinating with my home office.
That's correct.
You made that pretty easy too. You took it off my hands.
Yeah, and different things that come up with, especially in the financial world. In your business, you have certain system networks that are managed by the corporate office. And they have certain rules and regulations that need to be followed to an extent. So what I did was just kind of work with your corporate office in understanding what they were going to supply equipment-wise, and then what they needed help from my perspective, which came to be more of just the structured cabling. We didn't need to supply any servers or network switches. That was all supplied by your corporate office.
So how do you balance this? I remember you mentioning that you've got twins.
I do. They're 22 now. 22 okay. Now. When I moved to Illinois, they were 4, and I'm not sure where 20 years went, but yeah, going to be soon to be 23.
So, from my perspective, I've got a 19 and a 16-year-old,
nice.
and also a 9-month-old.
Oh,
but I've found that I just can't keep up with the technology the same way that they can. Has you being in your industry allowed you to keep pace or maybe even outpace them?
It really has, as a matter of fact, because I've learned so much being in the industry in the last 2.5, 3 years of how communication works. Kids, they just grab their phone and they just kind of go. But from really a communication standpoint and really understanding when you're working with business owners, is the security that goes involved and behind the scenes work that's so vital to protecting business assets and security. information that does not need to be getting out to the public. So I definitely have a lot more knowledge in the industry than my kids do now.
Well, it's funny because that's always a top priority for us too, kind of like what you had mentioned, you know. But a couple of things that I know you're really focused towards business owners, right? I mean, that's really
Right.
the people that you could help.
Correct.
And we all lived through COVID. I don't want to. We've all talked about it enough and seen enough of these, web videos, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think the biggest challenges are post-COVID? Like, there might be 2 or 3 things that business owners are either going to adapt to or change what they're doing already to make sure that one, they can operate in this new world, but also make sure that their information and their clients' information is protected. What do you think those 3 things might be?
It is one of the biggest challenge, I think, for having moving employees to a home office environment is what we call a VPN network, which is a virtual private network that basically stores and manages a business's infrastructure. Now, if you were an employee that just went home and started working off your regular laptop and you don't really have a secure network, well, if you're trying to do some business work, you can really expose.
Hey, Rob.
Yes.
I lost you there, so I'm going to go right back to the 3 things so Kevin can splice it, okay?
Sure.
So what do you think the main 3 things are that are facing business owners moving forward?
First thing is going to be going forward is the real challenge. The first challenge was getting their employees set up at home in the home office. And with that, there's technology out there. It's a VPN, it's called. It's a virtual private network. And that's where basically all your information highway is. That creates a secure network where businesses and employees can then access certain documents and certain information based on their office network. So it was imperative for businesses, small business owners, to make sure their home employees were now riding on that VPN network and not just a community network, so to speak. Because if you did that on a community network, you could be exposing your clients' private information. And we all know people are really good at gaining information that's really not theirs. So setting up those VPNs is really, really important for a lot of business owners. The second part is for business owners, how they might transition back into their brick and mortar facility. And some people are now seeing, hey, I can work from home, run my business, and not have the expense of having an office. So there's going to be some challenges, and business owners have to make that decision what direction they really want to go, and is it worth paying rent, or can they still operate in a secure environment from a home office environment? Thirdly, I'm not sure if I know of a third one, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, I know at least for us, when my team, I guess started working part-time from home, and that might be something like you said that we do permanently now, but making sure that, Jim and I both had the correct internet speeds.
Correct.
Because so there were delays and things like that. And then we personally had issues with, phones today seem to be run through my computer.
Right.
And so now if me and Jim are both at home, or one of us is at home, we don't have to be here to answer the phones, right? You hit the button on the computer and you could talk through there.
That's
correct. And I know for us, our corporate office kind of helped get those systems in place.
Correct.
And even once they were in place, it seemed like our home office was constantly refining, right? You'd call the comm center and they'd make sure that passwords are in, or
correct,
stuff I'm not good at. And so I guess my question to you is, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but as far as this business owner integrating those types of systems in with their staff, their employees, and really their businesses, is that stuff that you could help them with? Not that you want to take on a full-time role as a support staff, but I know when you were working with me, it was I was doing business with Rob. I wasn't doing business with a building somewhere and had somebody else. Like you were a consultant for me.
Correct.
So when me and Kevin brought you on board, not to toot your horn too much, Rob, but when we brought you on board, it goes what I was saying when we first started this podcast today. I didn't feel like we bought a product from you. I didn't feel like we bought Ethernet cables and wires and computers. I felt like we hired you as a consultant, and then you came in and you looked at it with the expertise that you have, and then made suggestions, and then coached us through. And you even, I think you even you did some troubleshooting for Comcast for me, if I remember, and some of the other things with corporate. So. Is that a resource that you are to your clients?
It is, and that's probably my biggest attribute to an end user is being able to digest and understand, do a discovery with them on their surroundings and what their needs are, what their wants are, what their wish lists are, and then my role, and it is really. As an integrator, my job is to find the best solutions that are out there. So what's really great is I have partners, 50 different carriers that I can depend on, that can bring in broadband services, voice services. I have partners that are IT companies that can do managed service. They can be a managed service provider. They can provide all the network infrastructure that needs to be done from a technical side of things. Now, from the technical side of things, that's really not my hat. That's not my forte. My forte is being able to understand what the customer needs are, and then digesting that information, and then figuring out where the next conversation needs to go to. Who do I need to bring into this conversation so we can get the solutions that you need in a timely, most cost-effective manner. And then when you're able to do that, and I'm able to do that, it just allows that end user to go, wow, you mean I don't have to make 10 phone calls to get this solution handled? You can handle it all? Yes. And that's where people go, wow, this is great, Rob. Thank you.
You know, Rob, I've been saying it for years, and you're kind of and this kind of happened accidentally on this, the way this is happening, but it's funny, but I believe that people ultimately want to do business with people, because people can not just personalize their service, but they can customize product. And it's kind of funny that even you being in a world of technology, that we need that human element involved as a consultant, or somebody that could just point us in the right direction instead of Googling and just buying something online that may or may not fit the solution that we need.
Correct. And it's funny that you bring that up, Phil, because we get requests for, I'll just use security cameras as an instance, and it could be a smaller size camera system, 6 to 8 cameras. Now we have distributors and camera manufacturers that we recommend and we work really closely with. And when we're able to provide from our distributors, there's more security around that equipment. So God forbid something happens to the camera, it breaks down. There's more warranty coverage, I should say. That's the word I was looking for. If you're buying something on Amazon and you want us to install it, yeah, we'll install it for you. Well, we can't guarantee how that equipment is going to be operational.
Well, you did that with me. Remember, I needed a box to secure my
exactly
the ports or the modem.
Yeah.
And I was going to go out and buy one, and you came, you looked at the closet, and you said, no, this is what you need, and you secured it, and you ended up doing it at a fraction of the cost for me too, and it's done right. So I've lived it. But I'll tell you what.
That's the exact same thing, knowing that in speaking with your corporate IT, knowing that your network equipment needed to be in a locked cabinet. That's why I was like, okay, well, this is what I would recommend. And then your corporate person said, oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what he needs.
Yeah.
Thank you for
it made my life easy, because then I could, as business owners, small business owners, I think we could be pulled in a lot of different directions.
Right.
At all hours of the day.
That's correct.
And anytime you could hire somebody, trust them, know that they're knowledgeable, and know that they have your best interests in mind, it just feels better hiring people, because outside the peace of mind for you, you drove efficiencies. I wasn't out trying to buy the right box and then buying the wrong one, and we just handed it off to you. And Rob, quite frankly, my costs were less in hiring you than trying to do it myself. So not that this was about your service to me, but thank you. But I'm gonna kind of wrap us up here. But with your permission, I'd like to sit down again and maybe really dig into broadband, if you don't mind, maybe in another meeting. And I'd really like to talk a little bit more about, is it called VoIP? What I was talking about, the phones over the computers.
That's correct. Yep.
I believe that's the way of the future. And the reason it was the way of the future for me and Jim was we could see voicemails from our home, and we could see who was taking calls. We could register missed calls. Now, there were gaps in the system, partially because of our broadband connection, which is something else. But why don't we reconvene and talk about those two things?
I think that's a great idea.
Anything else maybe you want to say that can kind of segue us into the next podcast that we'll be discussing those things?
Well, I think you touched on a great subject, because broadband and VoIP phone systems are interchangeable, and they feed off each other. And there's other products out there that help support a broadband that's coming in just for your phone. And also, when you're interested in doing things on your phone, because right now, when somebody goes into their home, you have people that are streaming videos, they're taking phone calls, they're checking emails. Well, there's products out there, and we'll segue into this, that can actually separate the data to go in different directions. All end up at the same place, but not bog down the important information highway for your business with streaming videos and things of that nature that don't really things that could impact communication. You want to separate those things in the business world.
Rob, that's good. I smile about you were talking, because it dawned on me that what we said when we opened up the show couldn't have been more true, and that your 22-year-olds don't have anything on you, do they?
I appreciate that, Phil. I really appreciate you having me on today. This has been great.
Yeah, no, thank you. And again, just a final thought, to all the viewers out there. I've always believed that going out and buying a product because we think we need it, writing a check or swiping the debit card, it's never as good as bringing on a trusted professional. And really, in my experience, 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, you really get the trusted professional's advice for free with the purchase of a product. And sometimes you can get their advice without those purchases. So that's really going to be the focus of this show moving forward, guys. We really want to be focused on hiring the right professionals for our businesses or in our personal lives, as opposed to out buying product. So with that said, I think next time we'll have Steve with us, and we'll dig into some of these more topics later on. Thanks, Rob. I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you so much, Phil, for the invite. I appreciate it, my friend.
All right, take care.
Take care.
The following BLTV program is brought to you by O'Flaherty Law. Please enjoy.